In this video, we're going to be installing and checking out the ambient light kit made by EVBase for your Cybertruck. Now I can already hear what you're saying. The Cybertruck already comes with ambient light. Why would I want this? Well, let me tell you, the ambient light kit that comes in the Cybertruck should have been just like this. This ambient light kit is so much better. It's got so much more functionality. You'll just have to wait and see what it can do later on in the video. And if you think you've seen other ambient light kit installations on YouTube for the Cybertruck, I can guarantee that you haven't seen what I have for you in this video. EVBase recommends that you install this in your glove box, but I don't want to do that because the glove box is already small enough. I don't want to have a whole bunch of wires in there. So I've got two brand new installation spots that I think are way better for the installation of this kit that allow you to maintain full use of your glove box. And my installation method works for any other ambient light kits that you're probably going to see on YouTube as well. I also do want to let you know really quick that EVBase did send this out to me so I could do this review, but I'm not being paid. They just wanted me to give you my honest opinion and review. So when you open up your box, this is what you get. First, you get your ambient light here. Again, it has a USB type A that plugs into this cable here that'll plug into your car. It also does have a button on here that allows you to turn the light on and off and to cycle through a couple of the things that it can do without the use of this Bluetooth dongle. This is what you're going to use with the application that allows you to do so much more. We also get some sticky adhesive that is double-sided. We also get this little USB type A hub that you were supposed to plug into your glove box, but we're not going to need to use this. And then we also get a trim piece tool because we're going to have to remove some of the trim. Now, if you do end up picking up this kit, the very first thing that you're going to do is to plug this into some sort of power source. It's just a USB type A that uses a 5-volt source because you want to make sure that it actually lights up before you go ahead and do the installation. Then we're going to need to run our sticky tape along the length of the LED, starting kind of like right here, making sure that it only sticks to the black part. And when you're done, it should look just like this. Now, since we're not going to be using the glove box installation method, we're going to start on the driver's side, and then we're going to go over to the other side of the truck. And there's a couple different places you can actually mount the ambient light. One is up underneath the top dash pad here. You want to make sure that the LED is actually coming out past the little dash here. You don't want it underneath because you won't be able to see it. Or you can also install it on top of this little silver piece here, but this is where your air comes out as well. So I'm going to be sticking it right underneath the dash cap. I'd also recommend cleaning off any surface that you're going to use as well, just to make sure that it's free from dust and anything else that might keep the ambient light from sticking. So then we're going to take our ambient light and we're going to peel off just the adhesive part that we need as we move down the line. Don't take it all off at once because then dust or particles can stick to it and keep it from adhering. So we're going to just work our way down the line. And if you have tweezers, it would make it a lot easier to try to remove or at least start taking off the red tape. So then we're going to put this just under the top part of the dash here. So it should look just like that, and then we'll just remove the red tape as we go along. And if you happen to mess up, you can just kind of remove this fairly easily. Just try not to touch the tape. Definitely is a little bit more difficult to install as you go down the line, especially behind the display here. And then once you have it in place, just make sure you run your finger all the way underneath it to make sure that it sticks really well. It's a little tedious, but once it's done, it's going to look really good. So it should look just like that. You should only really see just the tip or the front part of the LED. I'll give you a closer look here. So that's what it should look like when you're finished. And the end of the tape comes like right up to the edge or the end of the dash here. You can see it looks pretty OEM. And this is what the driver's side looks like. You can see that I have got the very end of the cable here kind of butting up against the pillar, and you want to make sure that that little portion there does not get bent, because I think that's where the solder point is, and you definitely don't want to damage that because then your LED won't work. So when you install it, it should look something just like this. Now, once you have your LED installed, we're going to need to take apart or open this trim piece here, because that's where we're going to hide our wire. And then we're going to end up kind of running it over here and all the way down the bottom of our dash. All right, so I'm going to try to show you how to do this. It might be a little difficult to do on camera, but I'm going to have to take apart this piece here. Now for this installation method, we will need this extra piece here. It's an OBD power adapter that does have two USB Type A ports that will power your LED. This is about $30. Don't worry if you don't want to spend that much. I have another installation method for you in just a minute. But this one seems to be the easiest because it's right underneath your dash, and you're really never going to use your OBD connection. And if you're worried about it draining your battery life, I did a test, and it seems like the OBD connection is only powered when you're actually driving your car or your truck. And if you happen to leave it and lock the doors and everything, it'll turn off power to the OBD in about 3 minutes. So you don't have to worry about it draining your battery. So first you're going to take your Bluetooth module here, and we're going to plug in our USB end from the LEDs, and we're going to plug that into the USB end on here. So it'll connect up just like that. Then we're going to take our OBD sensor, and we're going to plug it in to the OBD in the bottom here, just like that. Then take the end of the OBD with the USB connections and take the other end of the USB from the Bluetooth adapter and plug this in. Doesn't matter which one. So it'll be like that. Then we're just going to simply feed our cable up into the dash here, just like this. When you get to that end, kind of stop and then take the Bluetooth adapter and push it in through the dash. Then you can take the remaining portion and just kind of tuck that in. You don't want to really get rid of the Bluetooth end because, I'm sorry, the USB end, because once it's in your dash, you might not be able to get it back out again. So kind of try to tuck everything in up to that point. kind of just like this. And it should look a little something like that. Kind of leave this USB end kind of sticking out just in case you have to access it. And then if we take a look at our dash here, you can see how nicely lit up that is. Now, before we go on with the review and I show you what the LEDs can actually do, I want to show you the second installation method. The first part is just like what we did, but we're going to be using a USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable from the back of the truck to the front of the LEDs in case you don't want to spend $30 on the OBD adapter. So here, as you can see, the dash is very nicely lit up in the green, and it's also really bright. You can very easily see it even during the daytime, and it looks like it was meant to be on the Cybertruck. And you can see in the very corner here, we can just see the little end of a wire, but other than that, it looks really clean. You don't see any other wires, nothing else. Looks really good. Unless you look underneath, you can kind of see those wires there, but if you want, you can tuck those all the way in. It's just I didn't want to in case I needed to access the LEDs again. It would be harder to get to that USB if it was actually all the way tucked in, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Looks so good. So for this method, we're going to be using this USB Type-C to USB Type-A cable, and we're going to be plugging it underneath the back console here into one of the USB Type-C cables, and then we're going to run it along the back of our seat here and then up the front near where that Bluetooth module was. And this USB cable is cheaper than the OBD adapter. So we're going to plug the one end of the USB Type-C into the port on the back here just like this, and then we're going to take our cable and we're going to kind of run it underneath our floor mats. Make sure when you do this installation that the cable kind of goes down straight from the USB port, because if it goes across the back here of your seat and you move it back a little more, it might pull on this cable. So I would just recommend keeping it kind of like right there. So it'll be there just like that. Then we'll run the remainder of the cable up the front side of our driver's side seat. Then we're going to use our trim tool again, and we're going to run the USB Type-C cable underneath our trim here. Just kind of tuck that underneath. For some of it, you might not even need the trim tool. You might end up needing another little trim tool to help you out. But as you can see, it can be done. And then instead of plugging in the OBD adapter, you're going to plug it into this piece. Just need to get this back out. So instead of plugging the other end into the OBD, you're going to plug it into the USB A end of the USB Type-C. And then again, we can just kind of shove this up inside the dash. And there's what it looks like when you're all done. So you have the USB Type-A connection right here. Again, you guys can hide this if you want. I'm just leaving it out so I can easily access it if I ever need it. Maybe put some Velcro or something up there so it'll stay. But you can see it looks really clean. You don't see any cables along the edge here. You will see a little bit of cabling in the back of your seat. You can see right down there. But you don't really see anything until you get to the underside of the rear display. Not horrible. Again, it's a little cheaper if you don't want to do the OBD route, but I would probably just go with the OBD, and you can see that the LED lights are now working. So once you have everything installed, you're going to go onto your phone and you're going to download a app called Magic Lantern. And this is what the app is going to look like. Now let me show you what it can do. Now you can already see how much brighter the EV base LED is versus the ambient light that came with the Cybertruck. It's just so much more vibrant, and you can see it a lot easier, and it can do so much more. Not only can it do static colors like we see here, I've got mine on green, but you can pretty much select anything you want. Cycle to yellow, we got red, purple. I mean, pretty much any color you can imagine you can change it to. I think that looks pretty cool. So I particularly like the green. You can change the brightness. Right now it's up at full brightness. We can kind of lower it down to kind of match the ambient lighting in the truck. So we can kind of lower it down just a little bit. It's still, I mean, this is almost all the way down to the lowest brightness, and that's what matches the ambient light that comes in the Cybertruck when it's at its full brightness. It's ridiculous. But I particularly like the full brightness. Let's see if we can match the color here. It's going to be a little bit difficult to do. Yeah, I just like the green. It's almost kind of matching what it is on the Cybertruck, but I like the full brightness, so I'm going to put it up all the way, and you can see how much brighter it just got versus the ambient light. Now, when you first install the app, mine synced up right away. I didn't have to do anything. So if you install your application and you need to sync up, you can hit the top left-hand menu here, and you can see where you can add your devices. We can also turn it on and off here. When it turns off, it kind of does like a power cycle down, just like that. It goes all the way over to the other side, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, that's not a feature that you can use when you're using the lighting. I would really like to see the light kind of fade in and out like that, but it only does it when it turns on. And then when you turn it on, it kind of cycles all the way back over to the other side of the LED. Pretty cool. Now we also have some settings here on the top right-hand corner. We've got the auto connect, modify pin sequence. I'm not sure what that is. Pixels. If your ambient light is not fully lit up, you can go into your pixels here and then just type in 1000, and it should light up the whole bar. I've seen some people complain about that. There's some other things here, not really pertinent to what we're going to do, but we've got some presets here. We've got some classic. Look at how bright that is. Looks so cool. Classic colors here. Again, I like the green. Now we have some other options where we can go to style, where you can customize this a crazy amount. There's a whole bunch of different pages you can pick from. So again, the basic one here, kind of, you can do like a carousel effect. And in this basic option, there's a whole bunch of other different colors you can select to kind of go in and out like that. It's pretty cool. Then we have curtain, which kind of shows like a marquee effect. You can do the white close, you can do open, where it kind of flows out instead of in, which is pretty neat. You can change all the colors here. I think that looks pretty cool. There's the green. And then we have trans, which kind of just changes. They follow the different colors across the dash there. That looks pretty cool. Change directions, change colors. I kind of like that beginning rainbow effect. It was pretty neat. Then we have water. And you can also change the speed to any of these either. That was full speed, and then there's kind of crawling. Make it go as fast or as slow as you want it there. Kind of has a nice flow to it. Or just full speed. It's kind of Christmassy. It's pretty interesting. There's water. And then we have flow, which is kind of cool too. This is kind of Christmassy. The green and the white, blue and white, yellow and white. That looks pretty cool. Then we have tail, which again kind of just follows it across. You can change it back and forth if you want. Change direction. That looks pretty neat. I kind of wish they had an option where it would just have just a single set of pixels kind of flowing across back and forth, kind of like Knight Rider, but I haven't been able to find an option like that in here. It's pretty interesting. I don't know why that they don't have that. And then we have run, where it's got a one solid color, and then it has just a couple pixels that kind of change color and run across the LED. You can see it running across in white. You can kind of change that. So here we have purple, and then we have a yellow dot that kind of runs across the LED. That's kind of cool. And here we have a red dot that runs across. That's pretty neat. And it just keeps flowing from the same side. I kind of wish it would go back and forth. The green dot and red. Again, kind of Christmassy. You can really see this one with the red. And then you have that blue trailing LED that goes across to the side. That's pretty cool. And then we have run back, which just seems to be everything in the opposite direction. I would really love to have them put a scan option on here. Like I said, like Knight Rider, where it just kind of scans back and forth with a a smaller portion of the LEDs. Not sure why they don't have that in there. I think that's a pretty popular option, or at least it would be. And then we also have at the bottom here something for music, where it can play with music here. Let's see if we can. So there it's playing to like a Christmas music. And this is all done in the app. It's not it's not listening to music that you're playing in your truck. This is kind of cool. It just goes back and forth. And then you also have the option for a mic. So if you talk or you're playing music, it uses the application to kind of strobe the lights along with talking or whatever it hears. So if you're going to be playing music or something inside your car, it'll actually use the mic from your phone to, kind of cycle through the lights with the music, which is kind of cool. I kind of wish it didn't use the app. I wish it would use like some sort of mic or something on the USB, but it doesn't. It uses the application here. Hey, hello. It's kind of cool. And then we also have a scheduling here where you can schedule it to go on or off. Maybe you have some sort of event going on and you want it to turn on at a certain time, turn it off. You also have the option to do that too. So now I just want to show you guys that the lights actually do turn off after probably about 3 minutes. I'm going to walk away from my Cybertruck. I'm going to go back inside my house and you'll see that the lights will turn off. And then if we open up our door after it's turned off, you can see that it turns right back on again. Now that wasn't editing, you did see that right. It did start to come on and then it shut off and then it comes back on again. It has something to do with the power source of the truck, but as you can see, it will come on totally after like a second. And the thing I love the most is I still have full use of my glove box, and we already have an SSD in here to record all my Sentry Mode and dash cam clips. That's plugged in the back there, so I didn't want to have any other cabling kind of taking up more of my glove box. One other thing I do want to mention is if you are using the OBD adapter, when you go away from your car, the lights will turn off, but if you have Sentry Mode turned on and it detects somebody come near your truck, it will turn on the power to the OBD and the LED light will turn on, but it will eventually again go back to sleep. It's just something I want to let you know that it does. So that's everything that this light kit can do. I absolutely love it. I love how much brighter it is. I love the fact that it does also look OEM, and you have so much more functionality now than you would with the regular ambient light kit that came with the Cybertruck. Installation wasn't really bad. It's just a little bit tedious, but as you can see, it looks great once it's done. So if you guys do want to pick this up yourself, I will be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.